Termin bros are back. Tonight, we're doing some brakes on the old Tundra. We're just gonna start with the front brakes for now. We'll take a look, show you guys how it's done. First step for me, I got my floor jack right in the center of my truck. I just put a little bit of pressure on it before we'd start to actually lift the tires. So I'm gonna go around and get the lug nuts off, or at least broken. I'm using a size 22 millimeter to go ahead and remove the lugs. So like I said, at least break them. All right, so I use my normal jack point right here where you see that rusting. That's where I typically would jack it, but my jack sucks. And from the middle there, it's just not getting my tire off the ground. So I got my jack stand in place after jacking from the center. Gave myself enough room to squeeze that jack in between the stand and the wheel. And really all that jack is doing now is a support. The jack stand is doing the rest. So there's our setup. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of the lug nuts off on the outside. Should be able to pull the wheel and get this started. All right, first step, I hit this bolt first on the back side of this bracket. I'm gonna have to take this bracket off first, but I realized there's a line coming this way attached to the back side of this brake apparatus, and then there's the brake line coming in here, and that's going to connect to the caliper. So all of this needs removed, but this one needs to come off first. So that's going to hang by itself for the time being. And I'm going to put that bolt back in there so I don't lose it. All right, next will be this one. It's a 12 millimeter bolt. It's going to, like I said, remove this whole bracket. Then I'll be able to tackle the caliper. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is start to work on these pins, which I'm happy to see they look to have some give to them. Not so much on the bottom. So we're gonna get these springs out next, pins after that, and then we may be able to get this brake pad out. If we can, we'll get the caliper press in there and press that out first.
Come on, dog.
It's okay.
I thought you had something.
I thought I did.
Come on, dog. This way. Go potty.
All right, those pins came out real easy.
Come on, go potty. Yeah.
So I actually got that caliper press in there with the brake pads still in. I'm interested to see how this goes. Yeah, so it's interesting. I just want to make sure, I believe, I'm looking at that right. The scratcher tab is on the outside. So keep that in mind when you reinstall. So we've tried to use the caliper tool number of ways with it on the rotor, and I think it's about time I'm going to give up and just do it with it off the rotor. To do that, we're going to have I believe these are 17s, top and bottom. Actually 19 millimeters. All right, we're going for the bottom one first with the breaker bar. All right, not bad. So yeah, how it goes with the top. 3. Get this brake hanger handy, because now the whole caliper is going to come off. See, now the caliper press has full access. It's working the way it should. I was trying to force it, but I had to do this anyway, so. Oh, yep. People weren't lying about the brake fluid. My luck, I just topped it off. Fair warning, what do you do to stop that? Hit me in the comments. 'Cause it is what it is. What a mess. I guess I should have done it slower. And clearly that didn't work at all. So the caliper press definitely did its job. Get some paper towels and clean that up. Try to wipe down the truck before we move on. In case you've never done a brake job like me, these suck. Worthless. So I have this. This might be worthless too. But this is at least metal wire, twist tie. Kind of like a bread. Not ideal, but that hanger was not doing a thing. So this is what we're doing. Double it up, and there you go. Because we're gonna move on to getting this rotor off, banging around and stuff. So I don't want us to lose the caliper and tear the brake line. Here's another thing not to do like me, since I jacked my truck up before I had all the tools I needed. So the next step could be very easy. I could have an M8 125 sized hardware, just like a normal hex bolt, and use my impact gun and drive it right in there, and the rotor pop right off. Instead, we're gonna do it the boneheaded way. Thank God, 3 hits and it's off. All right, starting to move along now. Next step is going to be taking a wire brush and really cleaning up that corroded surface that was just caked together with that old rotor. That way the new rotor gets a nice good bond to it. I am gonna try to remember where these 2 marks are. Those were the holes I just described that you can use. And I feel like just from them being exposed with that little hole, there's kind of a little rim of corrosion. So I want to make sure that new rotor lines up right with that, just so we get a nice good contact and don't have any issues there. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna get the new rotor on, hopefully the new brake pads in, and this should be wrapped up hopefully pretty quickly at this point. Not a chance am I sponsored, but I did buy this from Harbor Freight. It would be cool though. Harbor Freight, you wanna hook me up with some tools? I'll keep doing projects. Ooh, 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 ooh. I got steel, I got brass. I have no idea which one's better, but we're gonna use them. You guys can let me know. It's gonna take a couple minutes to clean this surface up. Might not use anything other than this size, honestly. It's a good size to get into most of these areas so far. It's gonna be hard to get that, maybe this. Oh, this one's trash. What am I doing with that? Toothbrush one works well. Time for new rotor. I'm gonna hit the surface with some brake cleaner that comes with this Detroit axle. Not sponsored, but if you'd like to give me other cool parts, Detroit axle, what else do you make? Long shot. But anyways, I'm gonna hit the surface because I think people do that. People that I've seen since I'm a rookie here. Alright, new gloves seem like a good idea. And we're gonna get this bad boy on. And what I'm going to do is put a lug nut to help me out during this process of getting. All right, I got the first brake pad in. Again, I just used my mallet, nothing special. I didn't put any anti-seize or anything like that. I just used my wire brush and some brake cleaner. So I got that one in there. Remember, the scratcher tab is on the inside of this one, so that when I turn the caliper and install it, when the brake pad wears down, it's gonna scratch the rotor. So we got that right. We're gonna go ahead and tab this second one in, and then hopefully it'll be as simple as putting those pins and springs back in and installing the caliper back on to the rotor. All right, guys, so what I'm learning is when you get these brake pads, like you see, I had to give them a pretty good beating, even with the caliper press. It's just, they don't, if I could go back, I would maybe do some of that anti-seize stuff. I don't know. The pads just kind of want to be off kilter a little bit, but I just had my mallet handy. I tapped them back and forth the way I needed to, so it's kind of hard to show you guys, but I was able to all the way hand tight the 19 millimeter up top. I'm gonna do the same at the bottom. And then the caliper's back on, and then it's literally those pins and springs again. Put the wheel back on, and then we'll probably just take her for a little road test and make sure everything's working right. But man, for my first time, you guys, you should try it. I mean, it stinks. I doubt I'm saving money, but at least I'm saving my pride. All right, both of those are hand tight. I'm gonna let them be for now. We're gonna get the pins and springs in. Well, first pin went in, but not very easily, so we'll see how the second one goes. You may have to spin the pin a little bit to fit this wire. Two tiny little cotter pins that you put there, and then, ooh, I screwed this one up, but I'm gonna make it work. Definitely gonna wanna put that one on before. There we go. You don't want to put that one on before you put the pin through. That was a bonehead move, but it still worked. All right, guys, that's all she wrote. This is reassembled. That wasn't too bad. I was out here for about 2 hours. I mean, for a mechanic, that's terrible. But I'm gonna get this wheel back on. We'll do a little bit of a road test. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this one. I think I said 10 earlier, but it's a 12. And this smaller one here, then we can get the wheel back on. Start with this bigger one. All right, so we need a 12. All right, and then we'll switch out to 10. Look at this guy. All right, that's it for that part. Now we can get the wheel on. There we go. Your boy's getting tired. And I only did one of these damn things. So one other little side note that I'm learning from doing this, I turn the truck on, I press the brake in 3 or 4 times. This was completely full to the brim, completely level with the brim. When I put the cap on, it squeezed out a little bit. I had to wipe it down. After I pumped the brakes a few times, it's pretty much reading where it needs to be. So that's kind of cool. I'm gonna keep an eye on it though as it works through the system. We're gonna go ahead and take a test drive right now. We're gonna see if these brakes work. And if not, I'm going off the road. Or I'm gonna hit the brakes here at the end of the driveway. Sounds good. Whoa, backing up too far. I just put a rut in the drive. Again, up to 25 miles an hour or so. Try to stop all the way down pretty much, but not quite to a stop. I did a couple stops. It seems to be like it's fine, it's working. I can hear it a little bit, but that's how the first one was. After the first 100 miles or so and the brake pad wore down just a hair, when they're just so fresh, and I don't know. Well, guess what? We take it to get inspected tomorrow, so we're gonna find out if it's right or wrong. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. Until next time, get out, chase something real.